Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Welcome everyone to our Blitzball Part 5 of our little Blitzball mini-series. We're going to fire right into it, man. So some of the things we'll cover this episode because, we're kind of getting through like the tutorial stuff and just the basics of the game and all that. I know we've been talking about players, but it's kind of like, well, there's not that much to talk about in Blitzball, so we're going to be diving into some different things. We were going to be revisiting last Blitzball part. We posed the challenge of like your all-star team from just levels like 1 to 30. You're just gonna be playing the Blitzball games just to do them, to get the things you need to unlock. You just want to win games. You don't want to struggle. You don't care about going on longevity. We're gonna dive into some techniques. Finally, we're gonna be talking about like Venom, all the different Venom things, what does it even do, and benefits and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And then of course we'll analyze some players. But before we get into that, man, so I moved and I finally got my own space and office, and so I was able to get my
Right.
PlayStation 2 back out, man, and I got a new TV, just hooked it up. Which, by the way, dude, you can get a 42-inch TV for like $150 these days. What is
Oh
this?
yeah, it's
Like, oh
crazy.
my gosh, man! I remember,
Yeah.
a decade ago or a little bit longer than that, I bought a 36-inch for like $700. It's like, oh,
Yeah. I remember those days, man. I still have like an old 32-inch Vizio
yeah,
flat screen. That thing is like it's literally like 15 years old and it still works and everything. It's
yeah.
it's just
Oh,
solid as a rock. I've
well,
moved
that's
that
the thing.
thing
Yeah, it's
halfway
it's
across the country.
It's solid, man. The one I got now, you could just
Yeah.
fit into an envelope. But here we are,
Yeah.
just a couple of minutes.
But
Back in my day, tube TVs.
yeah, yeah. We're old, but the thing I was gonna say about that though is the funny thing when you get that new TV, how
Yeah.
hilarious is the PS2 graphics on it, it
Oh,
just
dude, it's bad. At first, like it was in 4:3, and so I'd actually go into the PlayStation 2 options to fit the screen, and other fit the screen, and essentially all it
exactly.
does is just stretches it. So it's like, oh, well, it's larger, but now it's not so looking great. It doesn't look as good to begin with, but.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I got this started up, man. I have my original Final Fantasy X save. I still got that sucker on a memory card. Popped into that. Oh man, it's always such a trip. I got no idea when this was. This had to have been like the original save that I probably
Yeah,
started either at
probably,
your
dude.
house, because I know that you had a PlayStation 2 before I did. Just a little bit, and then my next door neighbor, he had one too. So my saves were probably just from other systems onto the card, and then once I finally got it myself, I just continued that on. But it's
Yeah.
bizarre, man. The whole thing is bizarre. And then I got to the Blitzball team, and this is probably the furthest I've ever made it. Probably the most Blitzball. I mean, I've had a couple teams that have made it to like players getting into the upper 30s or so, but this is probably the one. And dude, let me tell you, okay, so. And this is how I was using them. I don't know why, but I got Brother and Blappa as forward. Brother, I don't know why. I mean, he is a good player, guys. Like, he is not
That
a
is really funny
forward.
though.
He was
I
sitting.
think I kind of used to play around with the same thing though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I know what you
fast,
mean.
and I think that's why a lot of people use him. And in the
Yeah.
beginning, he's very well rounded with the speed, so he's
And
actually really, really good. But like,
and his shoot isn't terrible.
it's
His
not
shoot's
terrible.
workable, you
But
know?
the example is like at level 33, he had like 20, 21 shoot. Blap on the other hand, like 40. So it's like, what am I
Yeah,
doing? And Titus, he's
yeah.
underdeveloped. I had him
Well,
at center, and he had even more than brother.
that is really weird. I wonder if you were like shooting. You must have been shooting with Titus,
I was
obviously at
I was doing
center.
like the three forward thing, yeah, and I didn't
Yeah,
really use
that's
the
kind of
center
cool.
as a center. I just used them
But
as an additional.
another thing, I can't believe you got Blappa. That's smart, man. I don't think I ever got the Albed Sykes or
Yeah,
anything on my OG save. Although I couldn't get it like because my PS2 broke, my memory card. I don't know where it is, but
yeah. No, I think I was going against Blaplin as soon as he became available. I snagged him. Jokes on me, because around this time, is when he actually starts to plateau a bit, and so he's got it. But
yeah,
defenders, I got Jetta and Nida. Nida's another one that's like, I don't know why. I mean, again, she's okay, but she's not like the best. And then funny thing is, I got Keepa and Jamal. Jamal's level
and
2
Mizuru.
though. So I don't know. I guess I didn't get him originally. And the funny thing is Keepa, like, I was apparently using him because, again, as you use your players, like it saves it to when you go back, the next time you select your players. He was above Jamal. He has more catch than Jamal, so I guess I maybe just got him for the heck of it. And then then Nezarut was like available, must have been, so I just scooped him up because I knew he was better, but he's
Yeah.
kind of a slow going one. So, dude, really
Oh
strange,
no.
really bizarre. I don't know, man. This is like what? How long ago is this? Like 23, 24 years ago? I mean, that's insane.
It's about, I think it was, yeah, it was like 2002. But Nida, I used to use Nida too. I think it was either as defender or center back in the day, just because, like I said, I mean, we were talking about this. She's pretty much like right there, once you get to the Calmlands and everything.
Yeah.
So she's really easy to find. A lot of the other players, if you didn't have a guide, you just had to basically just find them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
plus she's fast.
Yeah, plus she's fast. All right, man. Well, we're gonna go ahead. I just wanted to reminisce about that because it's not every day that. I mean, it's been years and years and years since I've set that thing up. So the all-star teams, right? This is not longevity in mind. This is not max level in mind. These are like who are the best players that you can scoop up right now. There's plenty. I mean, in order to win games, especially in the beginning, it's gonna be easy. I mean, there are tons and tons of them, of the free agents that are that will get the job done easily just winning these. But I'm talking about like who is the best? Who are you going with? Like who do you want? Now remember the rules for this is we just set it up for like the beginning of the game through Guado Salami are available, or Moonflow I think is actually what we said. So through the Moonflow is what's available. You can return as well, so we will absolutely include any team that you can return to or any player. So that includes the Aurochs, the Beasts, any people on the boats. So we're just saying like you're choosing 6. Who are they gonna be? And so yeah, man, what do you got?
I'm getting Rop for defender.
I mean, how can you not? I mean, he like just
Yeah,
he
that's the
is
whole thing.
the
It's just
best.
easy.
So how can you
Yeah.
not?
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was really thinking about this. There's a lot of stat variations and stuff, but we've not talked about Rop yet, actually. So we have not analyzed him. We'll probably be getting to him pretty soon, just because he's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'd say the next one, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And well, one we have talked about that I'm going with, man. And honestly, that's got to be Wedge. Dude, you got to
Oh,
have
yeah.
Wedge. And that's because like I've used him during this almost exact level, stint that we were discussing and using the players up to about 30. Oh man, it's great. It's wonderful. I mean, like he is fantastic. You like had
Yeah,
17 shoots starting out. You're going to be scoring some goals.
that is pretty crazy. And I mean, the other thing too is they always come with really good abilities. That's the other thing you just don't want to deal with. We talked about tech copying.
Yes.
We've talked about that quite a bit, but it's just annoying. And it's like you start off with the Aurochs. Only Letty, Bada, and Shadow have abilities.
Yeah.
They've got like
it
one.
it makes a
So,
world of difference. I mean, it
yeah.
really does. All right, well, we're building our teams, guys. So like I said, it'd be cool if everyone kind of started building their teams as well. Get you thinking about this. You could maybe post some comments on Instagram or something. I don't know. Let us know what you guys are choosing for your first players. So Alex chose Rop. I'm choosing Wedge. I mean, it's not like an actual draft, as I can't use Rop. Darn, I can't use Rop now, or something. That would be pretty hysterical. That'd be actually fun to
Yeah,
do.
that would actually be.
But no. All right. Well, good players, man. All right. So we're gonna move on to techniques. So we've talked about it a little bit, tech copying techniques, but there's just so many of the actual techniques themselves, and we haven't really talked about very many of those. So instead of kind of just picking and choosing, we decided let's focus on some of the main ones for Venom, right? So you got Venom shots, passes, tackles. As
Hmm.
anything, it adds additional pass or additional attack or additional shoot.
Personally on this too, I never really used to realize or utilize the fact that it adds to your stats like that. Especially the first, couple of times I played Blitzball, you takes a long time to get that down, right? You're
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh, do I want to poison this, this person or anything like that?" But you get the plus shoot or the plus pass, the plus attack and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's pretty good. I don't know, it's just poison's a weird one because I had to look some of this stuff up. The draining of the HP, how useful actually is that? I mean, it
Yeah.
kind of depends, right? We've talked about HP on players. Some of them, they end up getting like 9,999. And there's a formula that goes into how quickly it drains. They get something like a factor times every
Yeah.
second or 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But
And
what
so
do you think?
some of the factors with poison. I mean, it is not or the Venom things aren't really my go-to usually, but what I'm trying to do is trying to work them in at least here and there with some
Hmm.
players with passes and tackles. Not so much the shots. I mean, unless it's just what they have, like a walking
Yeah,
situation. Not so
yeah.
much, just because I mean, while it would be nice to poison the goalie, it's like, I'm not. I'd rather put him to sleep.
And
Honestly, is what I'd
it's
rather do.
I gotta say, it's funny that you bring that up too, because when I researched this a little bit, that question actually came up in a couple of different FAQs, just on a simple like Google search, and it was people asking that same question, like, what's the point of poisoning the
Yeah,
goalie? I guess the idea is then they can't use super goalie. Yeah,
yeah,
so there's things like that. I mean, especially early on, Venom is pretty nice because I think we've all had that situation where, let's say, Titus gets poisoned and he only has 150 HP. If he gets under 120, he won't be able to use jet shot. So
yep.
things like that.
Which just happens. Actually, it happened on me in this playthrough that we're going through for the podcast. And the series was, yeah, I got made it to that second half in the story one and got poisoned right off the bat with Titus. And I couldn't use jet shot, and it was like, wow, that was my for sure goal taken away from me just because of poison. It's like crap.
Yeah.
This isn't good. And so, yeah, it drains the HP, which, again, just reiterating what you said, doesn't really matter whatsoever at top, but at lower levels, it actually can affect quite a bit, when your players don't have very much to begin with. Something that kind of supports that too, we'll talk about it as well, is pile venom. That's another technique. I guess the whole thing is I've never really used this. Is you put on pile venom and then you put on, let's just say, venom tackle, and so you tackle him, it poisons. Now, what Pile Venom does is it says inflicts poison up to 5 times cumulatively. So it's basically it's making it go 5 times faster, which that's insane. I mean, holy cow, man! I didn't like that's substantial. Five
Yeah.
times. That kind of would help you out in that effect too. But again, the poison, it's not just about draining HP. It's about basically just preventing some techniques from being used. That right there, man, I don't know. If I get a player that's poisoned, I usually just kind of just set them to the side for a bit. You know what I mean? I try not to use them just because they're not really that effective.
And another thing, I mean, I didn't know a lot of this stuff actually, to be honest, because again, like, when you're playing it normally, you get to a point where poison is more or less irrelevant, especially once you start getting like 800, 1,000 HP. You just don't really worry about it because apparently it wears off pretty quickly. It's about a few minutes or when the half is over. So,
Gotcha.
if somebody gets poisoned, you can just avoid it altogether. But the other thing that was interesting is when the player that's poisoned has the ball, it drains their HP. When they don't have it though, it just regenerates slower. So it doesn't actually
Interesting.
drain their HP when they don't have it, but their regeneration, I guess, I'm not sure what the rate is, but that slows up.
So it's just when you have
And
the ball is the only time that it actually drains.
yeah, I didn't actually know that.
I didn't
I
know that
never
either.
paid attention to that. So, because I mean, honestly, like I said, it wears off within a couple minutes, so it's never been that big of a deal to me when I played it. But here's another interesting thing. You brought up the ability for them to use techniques when you're poisoned, and I've noticed that too. Like, for example, Dado will get poisoned, and he won't be able to use Napshot.
Right, right.
Apparently, if you get poisoned one time, that you lose the ability to use shoot techniques.
Okay.
And I'm not really sure how this works. Like, if you recover from poison, then you get poisoned again, or if it stacks, or I didn't think it stacked. But
I didn't think it
anyways,
stacked either. Yeah.
yeah, I looked this up, and apparently two poisonings equals basically then you can't use the tackle techniques, and then three pass techniques.
That's really strange. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'll have to try that out because I mean I looked that up and I'm not really I've never noticed that. So
yeah. I mean, well, so I've definitely the lack, the loss of shots and stuff like that. Because yeah, in the notes I was
yeah,
saying like it doesn't seem to always affect all techniques. It does, but I haven't paid enough attention myself in the game
yeah.
to like really like, okay, I can't use shots, or oh, okay, I can't
It
use this or that, and so I haven't really been able to
yeah.
put it down. But that's really interesting with the poisonings. Yeah, we'll have to look into this because wither,
I
you
I
can
would
you
think
can wither tackle someone until essentially all their stats are halved. So I mean, I
yeah.
guess by that logic, you can poisoned a couple of times. Man, that's just
And
unlucky. That's just
I think that is how it works actually now that you mention it because there was something in there that we'll cover later about Wither, like you said, where if you use it concurrently, I guess in the same half,
yeah,
it can have different different effects like that.
Interesting. Well, so what is it? The tier ones are always +3, and this is just across the board, but I don't think we've actually talked about this. So, like, the Venoms, Withers, Naps, whatever, it'll be +3 shoot or +3 pass or +3 attack. And then the tier twos, so Venom Shot 2, it'll be +5. Third tiers are +7. So that's how all those additional abilities work, which is obviously why you want to be using these and why techniques are so valuable in the beginning, because you have Datto going up and he only has 8 shoot. Everyone else has more than that, just about. It's like, yeah, you kind of really
Yeah.
need these abilities to add on some things. Same with passes. Overall, I don't know, man. I don't really ever use the Venom stuff. The tier ones, it's 40% chance of inflicting poison. Tier 2 is 70, and then the level 3s, it's 100%. It does do that.
I usually only ever use it because Auto has it at the very beginning,
Yeah,
and
there
then
you
after
go.
that, usually like you said, I mean, Wither tackle becomes pretty easy. You can learn that fairly easily from the beginning as well. So I usually try to get that on Letty, and if you're sticking with the Aurochs. But
Sure.
yeah, poison has its uses. It just depends on, I guess, the situation.
Yep. And then just a final note with that is, of course, the counter to that would be anti-venom. It's kind of good, I guess, to keep in mind sometimes when the enemy players, because, the enemy players, the opposing players can, if they have any of the antis, just to know, maybe don't use that on them. All right, well, that was that. Let's move on to some players, man. So we've been wanting to talk about them. It's actually pretty quick to talk about in general because there's not much to say. But Jamal, he's having a nice little picnic with his I guess maybe booty mama. I don't know who it is. Could be his wife.
He's
Could
sitting on the bench,
could be
right?
his mistress. We don't really know. We're not gonna try to assume anything. But he's sitting there on the bench, has a nice balloon that he got from Yuna
Yeah,
in the mascot
he
jar.
looks
Oh
pretty
wait, no,
happy.
wrong one. This
You're a
is for
couple of years early,
you.
man.
Here's a
Yeah,
balloon.
yeah. You're a couple years early on
Oh
that.
gosh, that game, it just
Happen
it's
later.
PTSD, man, playing this. I hate that
Oh,
game. Anyways,
jeez.
so
I could yeah, that one's rough, I can't have to admit.
all right, well, Jamal though. Why would you want Jamal, man?
Well, I mean, starting catch, right? That's the main thing. So what does Keepa start at? Doesn't he start at, like, 5 or something like that?
I am gonna head to the player cards right now, my friend, because the guide's just out of reach.
Yeah, it's 5. Yeah, no, I mean, basically, to keep it simple, like, Jamal starts with 14 catch. There is one interesting thing, though. I gotta throw this out there. The one thing that usually happens, like, especially if you're doing kind of a speed run type of thing, is the money. And he is 200 gil a game. Not super cheap, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it. The goalie's the most, I would say, the most important, or one of the most important.
Yeah. Yeah, 14 catch. I mean, like you said, Keepa is the worst. He probably will level up that first forced Blitzball, so he'll probably be like level 2, maybe 3 if you're really lucky. So it might have gone up to like 6 or 7. But regardless, it is not 14. And, well, there's actually only one other player that has higher than that. Wow, I give you a guess at who that is. Yes, it's Albed Sykes. Of course, it's Nimrok, but you know, that's still though. This puts him second. So level 1, starting
Yeah.
out, fresh blitzball. Jamal is the second best goalie at 14 catch, and so definitely pick him up. He also starts with super goalie, so that's kind of the nice thing is Keepa, as we talked about and been railing on, they have to learn all their techniques. So you definitely want to get rid of him and then pick up Jamal. So thing with Jamal though, his catch is good, but like everything else is kind of just It's like he was meant to be a goalie. I mean, that's what it is. Like, endurance is the only thing that's like okay. The rest of it is just complete useless. You will not use
I
it.
yeah, I find it funny how attack stays at 1 until somewhere between level 10 and level 15, it goes up 1 point.
Yeah, because
Yeah, and his growth, I think that's the disappointing thing is his growth is just terrible. Like, let's
yeah,
say, 1 to 5, no catch increase, stays at 14. You're thinking, all right, it's not a big deal because it's still pretty high. True, but 5 to 10, oh, goes up by 1.
yeah,
10 to 15 goes up by 1. Now, at this point, like that 15, especially 10 to 15, I'd say 10 to 20 is where he really starts to it's going to start to almost equalize out with some of them, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. He's
18 at 20, so
he stays ahead till about like the low 20s or so, and
yeah.
even then, it's somewhere in between there because, we're only given these blocks, but he has 18 at 20, 19 at 25. Somewhere in between there, Keepa actually catches up to him. At this point, Jamal you'll probably want to get rid of him and find someone else, just because, that's what it is. He starts high and he just grows really slow, and to the point where even Keepa is passing him in the early 20s. So tactics to go about with leveling up goalies and different things. So I don't know if you want to just key a player in and then keep him and not have to worry about rotating him or poaching other players or something like that. But he is better than Keepa. So there's that, like in the beginning and in the end. But in the middle, his growth is it's too slow for my liking.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, overall, it's kind of an issue because, I mean, he's not, like you said, he's not a bad goalie, but basically the increments, it increases by 1 and then 2 up to about, level 40 or so. It's just only going up by 2 and 1s at that point. And then after that, it starts going up by 3 up to 38.
Yeah, that's every
Level
10
90 and
levels,
things
though,
like
too.
that.
That's.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It starts getting really painstaking. But again, with a lot of these goalies, man, the thing that always cracks me up is how they'll give them a crazy, crazy stat at the very end, or actually
Yeah.
a few in this case. I'm looking at attack ending up at 59.
Yeah.
It goes from 6 at level 30 to 59 at level 99. That's insane.
It's crazy.
Um,
Even 60, it's 22. So, in 30
and
levels, it increases by almost 40, that's crazy.
and then pass. So at level 50, so 50 levels, you get 25. And
Yeah.
then 25 to 90, 83. So you get like 68.
Yeah.
68 pass.
Yeah. It's
Oh man.
it's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So, that's the thing. So, in the end, all of his stats essentially, so like everything other than pass and block, either they grow incredibly slow or it's just non-existent growth. That's why, like, he is a goalkeeper, but then we get this crazy attack and pass increase around 60. So you're like, does that do anything? Well, no, it doesn't, because even though
It's like
he
yeah.
ends at 59 attack, that's really good. That's pretty competitive. That's on the higher end.
Yeah, that's
And
the other
83
interesting
pass,
thing, right?
that's really good too. Nothing else is good though. 29 endurance, 16 block, 20 shoot. You can't do anything with him. So you can
Yeah.
maybe put him in as a defender or maybe a center, but he has no block. So that's fine. So while he has great attack, he has 16 block. That's terrible.
Mhm.
Again, 29 endurance, man. This is lower than Bada. That's scary, dangerous. You're gonna have forwards taking you out right and left.
It's interesting though the way that happens.
It is. But he does end with 41 catch, so while it's not the worst, Keepa's at 39 for just kind of reference. It's pretty bad. Pretty
So
much
far.
any other team goalie has more than him other than Keepa, so tons of better options out there. But,
Crazy at the beginning. Yeah. Like
oh my gosh, man, you're going from either 5 to 6 to 14. That's huge.
right, and that's the whole thing, right? Like up to 30, solid. And you'll win games. And I mean, to be honest, it's like if you're just trying to get all of the prizes from Blitzball, you're not going to get up to level 30 anyways, But that's the whole thing with Jamal. Like he's a good goalie in
Yep.
the early stages.
Yep, fantastic replacement for Keepa. So if you're not looking to keep the Aurochs together, give Keepa the boot. You're gone, man. We got this dude named Jamal. He's a lot thinner, a lot more athletic than you. So that's
And he's got like a little apron thing or whatever the
and he's
heck
got
that
an apron to protect his
I don't know
clothing.
what that is. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's got like a
He
headband.
does. He's got it looks like oh gosh, it looks like a banner, man. He's just like, "Oh, I like my family's colors. I'm
Yes.
going to wear them on my chest as a banner."
Yeah. That's actually what it makes me feel. It kind of looks like a family crest or
Yeah,
something,
these are my family
made into
colors.
like
Hey, what are with these, like, Titus has it too. What's with, like, these detached sleeves? Now, obviously, you guys can't see. We're looking at the player cards right now, and so I got his portrait
Yeah.
up there, and I don't know, it's hysterical stuff, man, the models in
Yeah.
this. But at least he's got
Yeah,
his
sure.
sweatband on. He is ready to work.
He's ready to go. Should we move on to player number 2?
Oh, we should. Why?
All
Because
right.
it's what Billy Mays used to call the Super Shami. No, I remember those commercials for the
Jammy, wow.
Super Shamis, but no, that's what I like to call her. I know it's Shamies, but we're
Shami.
calling her Shami, and well, man, I know she is a favorite.
She's like the reporter chick. I like the check out that collar, man. Look at the collar on her What is that, like, her vest or something? I'm not sure.
Dude, is she
Yeah,
a
we're just gonna
prisoner
try.
right now? That looks like shackles on her wrists.
Yeah,
Is she an outlaw? Hey, she's a convict, turned herself around, became a
yeah.
news reporter.
She's got the double ribbon bow, you know? That's pretty
You guys
good,
got to be
but yeah,
looking at these cards with this. Come on, while you do this, it will
yeah,
be up
yeah,
on our
you gotta check
website.
it out.
Check it out for the episode.
It's classic, I love
It's
it.
it's good
But,
stuff.
yeah, Shammy, again, she's pretty fairly expensive, I guess, like 190 gil a game, but
Yeah,
look at those starting techniques, I just gotta point that out, it's pretty insane, right? Drain
yeah.
Tackle, Venom Tackle, Wither Tackle, Venom Shot 2, Venom Shot 3, which is hilarious because you can't even
You
use
don't
it
even have
if
enough
right off
health for a long time for
right.
that.
You don't even have enough health, and then Wither Tackle 2. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And honestly, some of these starting techniques, like I'm going to various sources to try to find them, and they're not even listing them all. You know what I mean? Like, so there could be more than that. Still, yeah, she comes stacked with all these, and it's mainly tackles and shots. And well, this is what she's for. I mean, this is like, especially 1 to 30. She's fantastic. I mean, you get her. She's slightly slower starting out, so that is like the nitpicky thing. She's got 58 speed. You're not going to really notice it too much, but it is a little bit lower. Just kind of give a shout out. And then as far as like the forward stats go, they're pretty par. Remember I kind of used Titus as the baseline. He was 10 and 10 for endurance and shoot. She's 11 and 10, so she's pretty much right there. And everything else just looks like a normal forward stat. She has lower attack, lower pass, lower block, no catch. And you're like, okay,
And the thing that jumps out to me too, and especially in the early days of her progression, I mean, because it takes a while to level them up, right, to like 5 and 10 and things like that. But crazy thing is, for a forward, so yeah, she starts off at 10 shoot. She's got good endurance at 11. She's HP is low; it's only 100, but I mean that
yeah,
gets up there. But the attack goes from 4 to 8 in the first 5 levels. So right off the bat, like level 5, she's already pretty much a threat to most
yeah.
vendors.
Every 5 levels, it's gaining about 4, and it's very quick growth, and it's kind of just a little spurt of it there, in these early levels. But like I said, 4 to 8. I mean, by level 15, it's 15 attack, and that's defender status, man. That's right
That's
there, and
That's
like you
usually
said,
game over territory for me. Like when I'm
yeah,
playing with Shammy, it just gets to the point where her plus the center, which is like 90% of the time, when they take the ball from you or something, it's pretty much the center and one of your forwards or
yeah.
something.
Well,
They
dude,
can't
and
deal with it.
pit
Cannot deal
pit
with it.
her attack against her own endurance. Level 15, her attack
Yeah.
is 15. Her endurance is 22. Slap on a tier 2 maybe tackle if you can in there. She would take out herself. I mean, like
And
she's really
and
strong.
that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up because she starts the fact that she has a tier 2 tackle, the right one too, like with her. Right off the bat, you don't even have to teach her anything. This is why Shammy is awesome because if you're not wanting to mess around too much on Blitzball, you don't want to do all the tech copying, you don't want to do a whole bunch of games, level them up and struggle and things like that. Just get Shammy.
Let's get Shammy. Seriously.
Got
It's
all the abilities. Her attack is just insane.
Yeah, by level 30, she's going to be stealing all the balls from everyone. She will, like, they'll get the kickoff, they'll go up middle. Shammy comes in, steals it, then you can just take it directly there and score. I mean, she has
It's like
she has the
just
shoot, she has the endurance, she has the attack to make it happen.
just get ready to read. Shammy tackles hard 8
Yes,
billion
steals the ball, and you're like, oh, nice, that was easy. And I mean, this
Steals the ball
this
from Dallas.
continues for quite a while. I'd say like level 50, things are still going pretty good. The attack is definitely mellowed out. It stops going from like the 4s and it kind of goes to 3s and 2s, maybe even 1. It kind of slows a little bit. Everything else is fine. Her speed actually by 50 is up to 62, so it doesn't just stay at 50. It actually does grow, which is fantastic. Her endurance is still pretty strong, and her shoot is up there. So I mean, she is pretty good forward. Like again, the tackle or the attack, it is still good, but it's not like you're not gonna be wowed by it anymore.
Little bit low HP. That's the other thing I would say about Shammy is one limitation with Shammy is she's got those big abilities and you run out of HP really quickly. She
Yeah,
ends up with
yeah.
nearly 9,000, which is pretty decent, but early on, at level 20, you're talking 910. That's kind of low.
You got to think we harp on the HP and stuff, but the tier 3s, I think they're like what 4 to 500
250.
HP. Oh, okay,
So
250,
some can, yeah.
350.
Well, it depends. I
Yeah.
think, like, for example, Venom Shot, I believe that's 250, but
Well, those, and then
you
you also have like kind of the
yeah,
passive ones that will passively take
uh-huh,
like tackle slip and stuff. And so it does kind of add up quite a bit once you have a lot of things going and you try to get
yeah,
in those Venom Shot 3 or something like that.
yeah. And one final point too, another thing I noticed with these players, I think that's worth noting with Shammy, she's got really easy key techniques as well, which I think is a big bonus because it can be really annoying if you have a player that has some,
Volley shot.
obscure key technique like volley shot or something. So hers are wither shot, easy, wither pass, easy, venom pass three. That's really
Yeah.
not that difficult to learn, to be honest. So
Pretty standard ones that will be very
yeah,
common. And so, towards the end, she's pretty good. She is definitely not as great at max level as she is early on. Early on, I think she's probably one of the best forwards, and
yeah,
it's mainly just because
sure,
that tack stat on top of a strong
exactly.
endurance and shoot stat, they're all good. In the end, I mean, she ends with 68 endurance. While that's not like you can work with that, that's I don't know. I like to get a little bit more. 66 speed though, so we do go from 58 to 66. That's a pretty good thing. And then her shoot's really great. It gets at 88. 80 plus, you're good. She's right in that golden range. 88, her techniques are gonna get her to max just about, and so that's good. She's kind of a purist. I mean, that's just really it is, kind of a purist forward, and she does end with 39 attack. So I mean, that's not horrible with some abilities. That's like defender status in some areas.
Yeah, and the other thing too is she'll just level up like crazy. She'll
Yeah.
be way ahead of everybody else because what'll happen is she'll keep stealing the ball and then you just keep scoring. Like it
Yeah,
literally just starts getting really unfair, honestly,
it does.
with Shammy. I noticed that a lot where she just kept stealing the ball. I would just basically like pass it to the other forward because she was already scoring like, 4 goals or something
Give
like
someone
that. I
else a
mean, it's
chance,
easy.
ball hog.
She becomes a one-man machine, basically, like, it's
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah, mix her with some of the other ones we'll be talking about here pretty soon, like a Volucha style. And yeah, these early games, some of these forwards are just get real nasty beasts. I mean, her and Wedge, honestly, Wedge is another great one because it's kind of a similar thing, high shoot, high endurance, and then attack. And the attack is just one of those stats that's fantastic to have on your forwards because
Yeah, it
mainly for
is.
kickoffs. I mean, there's other instances too, of course, but kickoff comes, they go, they run it right into you guys, and you say, "Well, thanks for the
Mhm,
gift. I'm just gonna go score on you again."
and
Like I just did it. I was scoring on you again.
and I never did that just because it's so counterintuitive. I never thought of having a 4, I never even looked at their attack, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, especially in the early days, I never used Wedge, unfortunately, I just didn't realize the power
yeah,
of,
seriously.
the high attack on the
Well, and
forwards. I was looking at,
you
like,
know, I
Larbite, all those guys.
didn't analyze the players as much either in the strategy guide.
Yeah,
Perused
yeah,
a little bit, but didn't
yeah.
really go in depth. So some of these players you just don't really know about, and then the stats start developing. You're like, whoa, what is going on here? Well, we did have one last guy on the list. I think we're gonna have to save him from next time because we're already kind of running out of time for this episode. So we'd like to thank you all for hanging out, listening to our podcast, and we're just hoping you're kind of liking these little short episodes of the Blitzball, or shorter episodes of the Blitzball, and they'll just be coming at you some more as usual, sprinkled into the normal things. Check out our website at finalstop.finalfantasytalks.com. This is where we do have the Blitzball stuff. You can also download some of the saves we put together, like if you want to play as only the Ronso Fanes or as the Luka Goers teams rather than having to go and poach out those players. It's already just built with, I think, just one game
Yeah,
played on it.
those
So,
are awesome.
yeah, it is pretty
Yeah,
cool. I
those
mean, it
are great.
saves you some time, and it's a different way to enjoy the game. Like, what is it like to actually play as all Guado Glories? It's kind of a fun little thing.
Exactly. I get to see all the pictures of the players that we've been talking about, just check out those uniforms. They're interesting.
Yeah, they are. All right, well, we'll catch you all in the next episode. I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.